Sleep with the first win here, looking pretty dominant against Huangshin, but now he's up against a Protoss player of a completely different caliber. He's up against Deer.
And Deer is definitely a tougher opponent to face, that is for sure. So now it's going to be quite interesting to see if Sleep is able to take down the second Protoss in a row and bring his team in a 2-0 lead, or if Deer is starting to turn things around a little bit and start maybe the comeback for his team.
Yep, there he is, and he looks pretty ready, not pretty nervous at all. Pretty nerveless, as I guess was in my mind, which didn't make any sense, so I stuttered there. But there's a shot of Huangshin, who just got his face punched in that last game, basically.
You know, for someone who just won his run of 8 match in the Premier League, Deer has a horrible record in the GSTL. Came out a couple of times so far this season, but he won only 1 map. That's all that he won this season, a single map, and I think he lost 3, at least 2. So it's really interesting to see that the entire team is doing like quite well when they are in individual league, when they are in like games that they can prepare for. But every single time they play in the GSTL, they play in the team league, they seem to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's much harder to prepare for this type of format than it is to prepare for a Code S type format. But still, if you're the second player, at least you've got a lot of preparing you can do. Former SDX Seoul player Innovation still leading with 5 wins and 1 loss, and he has an all kill, so he's number 1 in the individual ranking. Panic number 2 currently with 4 wins. Curious tied with them. MMA and Center racking up 4th and 5th.
Yes, Starter definitely relying on Panic a lot this season. But I want to see Deer performing well right now. I think he's one of the most exciting Protoss to watch these days, and also a Trap. Like with Trap, they have another excellent Protoss that are sitting on that bench. I feel both of them are really great to watch, but for some reason they seem to have a bit of a blockage here in the team league, and if they get rid of that, I feel Seoul is going to be one of the main teams this season. But they need to do it now. This is the time. If they lose today, then they will be 0-4 this season, by the first part of the season, so that would be like really bad for them going into the second round.
Yeah.
But right now we have game number 2 coming up, of course.
Yeonsu, a 2-player map. You know, if Deer loses here and they put out Trap, I will be so frustrated. I feel like that is just not what they need to do right now. I think they need to switch up the order. Deer needs a win here. If he loses, then I don't know what's going to save them, because Sleep alone is not the problem. He's just one of many players that are going to come out here, especially once Symbol comes out. I don't know how they're going to be able to handle that.
I mean, Sleep just recently lost to Deer, so it's a really good choice to send him out here. Yes, it's the same matchup back-to-back, but at the same time, it's a matchup where Sleep is traditionally speaking not the strongest player, and also Deer has achieved a win in a best-of-3 actually just recently. So we're going into game number 2 at the GSTL. AZUBU going up against Seoul. The match is brought to you by Colin Wolf. Starting here on Yeonsu to the top right, we have the AZUBU Zerg player in his second game today. He was the starting player for his team. It is
AZUBU Sleep.
And Sleep on Whirlwind victorious against Huangshin is now up against a completely different build order as well. Starting to the bottom left, we have the Seoul Protoss player with Pylon in the main base.
Seoul Deer.
And Deer in the WCS Premier League was able to take down a Sleep with a 2-0. There's also something that they don't know.
Hey Max.
Okay,
they are from Sweden for certain. Game AZUBU Soul Slayers. That's clever, I suppose. Keep strong. Wait, keep sleeping and forgate.
That confuses me. That really confuses me.
That was me last year, man. I was just sleeping all day. When I woke up, I forgate some people on the ladder, and then I went back to sleep.
Well, what we have right now is actually a 14 pool coming out of Sleep here, so that's a safer play, definitely. If you are up against an opponent who goes up for Gateway, on the other hand, you can go for that hatch first, but he doesn't know this, of course. So right now he's going to go for the safe opening against the Protoss player and starting his hatch after that. But as mentioned before, Dia not only strong in the matchup, but also successful against Sleep just recently, whereas the Zerg player himself is not the strongest in the games against Protoss. Against Huangshin, that didn't really show, allowing him a lot of freedom there on the map too, so made it a little bit easy for him. But right now, that's a very different game that he has to play here. But he already did what he was supposed to do. Took the early win here and the lead for AZUBU, so even if he loses there, AZUBU will still have the advantage of being able to pick a counter player to Dia and then also choosing the map.
Yeah, by the way, I really want to point out the uniqueness that's occurred here. There's no second gas, and he is going to start working with here. Nexus goes down. This is a build that will likely end up being an expansion. However, in the past, okay, there's a much, of course, so Mystery Salt, but in the past, this is the same builder as the Nexus cancel 4-gate, so that sign just stressed me out. Thought maybe we were going to really have a 4-gate, but we're actually not, so don't panic. But Sleep, I like his choice actually to go for the hatchery first on this map, because he knows it's the map his opponent's chosen, it's a 2-player map, it's really easy to cannon on this map, and or rather the pool first, not the hatchery first, but now we've moved beyond that. He's got the gas up.
I mean, right now at this point, I mean, the last map was a 4-player map, so a big map, and he goes for the Swarm Horse. I'm not quite sure that we're going to see the same play from him again. Dia is also, as we mentioned many times before, a different opponent to play. He's not going to just sit back and watch what the Zerg play is doing. If he sees a chance, he is going to attack and try to exploit weaknesses, and that's something that Huangshin just didn't do to that extent as he could. And this is also a much crisper opening that we have here currently coming out from Dia. And Dia is a strong player, so this is definitely the guy that you send out as a sole coach, not only to take down Sleep, but get a couple of wins. But in terms of strategy, there has to be someone on the AZUBU bench that was practicing to take down Dia. You know he's going to be one of the players that is going to come out. Him and Hiva and Trap, those are usually the 3 heavy hitters that they have. They will always rely on maybe another player, maybe someone that they didn't send out just yet, but you will prepare snipers if you focus on the team league.
Yeah, you're right. The build here that we're seeing is a pretty fast robo. The probe at the top left means that he could actually try to go for a timing here with some Immortals. Just there's no Stargate. We don't see non-Stargate builds very often anymore in this matchup. A lot of Lings coming out here for Sleep. He's going to be very careful with this. Not going to attack, but going to control the map. And he needs to go and find that probe, because there's a pylon actually already placed as we speak right now.
But he has those Zerglings on the map, and the timing for him is really good. He takes this base, as you can see a little bit later, and oh, this Stalker is already doomed.
Well,
no way. No, he's not going to do it.
Yeah,
he could have tried to
waste.
recall, but that would have been a waste, and he's going to find that pylon too. He sees the probe already. No, didn't. And here we go.
Well, Warpin's coming in here, but I don't even know if he's Warpin going to be Warpin this one, or he took way too much damage himself as they're warping and actually recalls.
Yeah. So right now what we saw there was just Sleep playing it quite safe. If you go up against the gateway opening, you delay the third base a little bit, which is exactly what he did. He went for the faster speed instead, and that speed helped him to take down the Stalker and also make sure that he is there in time to spot for a pylon. That was very well timed out by Sleep here.
Yeah.
And he's now going into the Roach Warren after this. So the initial defense against the Protoss player goes with the Zerglings. He knows that there's no Forge, there's no +1 tech upgrade. So the Zerglings with speed will do the trick, and now he's going into phase 2 of the build, going into the lair attack and adding the Roach Warren as an additional defense.
And speaking of phase 2, we actually have the Immortal timing coming out just as I described before. The way that the Lings destroyed those rocks actually is genius, because now Sleep knows there's only one path that he can move out on. He can't go around the left side that's out of vision of the watchtower because he cut that off. That's so smart. He's going to see this Immortal push coming a mile away. The thing is that he doesn't know exactly that it's coming, but he's made a lot of roaches here. He's playing pretty safe.
Yeah, he's not over-droning or anything like it up to this point. He has 50 harvesters on 3 bases. That gives him a decent income. You can see that he is a bit ahead of his opponent. He has the watchtower right now, as you already said, so he knows what's coming. He does not know about that pylon, of course, but he will maybe even find out. The Zerglings are still there. So if there's a warp into the low ground, for example, he would immediately see it.
Yeah.
And at this point, speed has been started, and he even finds it.
You know, I actually think that you could see by the way that Deer was moving that he was actually trying to move around the left side, and his units bugged out several times, and he was like, what? And then he realized, oh, he cut off the rocks. There's no way for me to hide this. He's also found my pylon, so now he's moving out because he kind of has to. But I think he should just take a third base instead, because this timing, even though it's strong, is not going to win him this game right now.
He's trying to delay him. He's trying to delay him with the Zerglings and maybe even attempt to break free here and through the wall, but that's not going to work. So currently we have Sleep just setting up his defense, getting additional units into the picture. The probe already chased away. Another additional pile has been cancelled. The Zerglings to the right side of the map at the bottom have been taking out that one that he scouted earlier. So right now no warp-ins for Deer, and the Protoss player is just looking for an opening here. But Sleep, he is at 50 Harvesters. He did not overdrawn at all, and he's just building units.
Yeah. This is actually a really strong attack still. It's all about the angle here. Probe going to get sniped right away. The Roach at the back, though, on move command. They need to start fighting, and they do. Immortals immediately targeted. One is gone. The second one's actually not quite able to be taken out with those good force shields, but he's lost a lot of momentum here. So many sentries already dying.
A really great position here that Dia chose to fight here, but at the same time the flank was great. Sleep with the sandwich position, and he's moving in. The first Immortal is down, and he's building 13 additional once he's taking down most of the gateway units already. Still at 60 army supply against 33. He's not looking bad here. No force field on the ramp. There's no sentries, only 2 left, and they don't have a lot of energy.
Exactly. He's only got those 2 Immortals to rely on. And there's 11 Roaches about to pop out here, and that should be enough to push this back. Great engagement location here by Sleep, or rather by Deer, but Sleep is still able to just overwhelm him here, targeting down those sentries first, and the Immortals, of course, can be lifted, but he doesn't care. He's ignoring them. He's killing everything else.
Yeah, he's killing everything else here, and he has a lot of DPS. A single force field not achieving a lot here. Great defense so far by Sleep. Deer is not relenting, though. He's still going for it. Those 2 Immortals doing a ton of damage. The Mothership on the other hand already gone, and the Queen is now going to town at the War Prism, trying to push that back, but the force on the ground is nearly diminished. He's going for Lings now as well, in addition to the roads that he's currently building.
Yeah, if he had a few more Lings dealing with these Immortals, it would be so much easier. And so far, actually, you know, it looks like he may still be able to make this work. It's so close here, and Deer is now at the point where he can force field the ramp.
He needs to pull the probes, the drones, and that's exactly what he's doing. He needs to mineral walk. He actually just wants to block the Zealots for a second, but then he goes in and tries to attack, and this is such a close game right now. Oh my god.
I think he may actually still be able to hold. That Immortal goes down. That's really his backbone right now. The drone's being pulled off yet again. So much damage done here. That one Immortal, so many kills. Another sentry here with the force field, and I think
31 kills. It is insane. Dia actually looked like he was going to lose that game, but he is holding on here. Another Stalker is actually at the back, but now the Zerg player is running out of lava. That's his problem, and out of resources as well. He doesn't have the income anymore.
He does not, and he's lost basically a hatchery because everything he makes there just gets killed instantly by this Protoss army.
How
trapped in the main?
Did Dia win this?
Just really good control, I suppose.
Oh my god, I mean the Immortal with 31 kills, he has even more by now. Those 2 Immortals, they won him the game.
Yeah, 36 kills on this Immortal right now.
And it's game right now. He will never be able to get his army together. Sleep, that is. He looked like he would for sure hold this base and fend the attack off, and then Dia would probably lose the game. But the Protoss play, he pulls through and takes the victory.
GG.
Wow.
Really nice control here, and great lift-ups on the Immortals. That was almost looked like somebody doing the impossible, pulling that off.
That was incredible. That was really incredible. It was really close, but that was so well done. I actually think Sleep just thought at some point, well, I got this.
Yeah, exactly. He got complacent, I think. I think if we had a remake of that, like we did we loaded the replay back up and gave the players control and started again right before the fight, I think Sleep actually could still win that game. If he had just microed a little bit better, but the micro of Deer was basically perfect. He did all he could, and it was just barely enough. Really good pickups on those Immortals.
It's just insane. I mean, he was down so much in army supply. The composition as well, the Immortals exposed. But I think Sleep just looked at the screen and was like, you know what? I got this. I flanked, and it was so beautifully executed. I mean, Dia chose that spot really well. It was a very small surface area that the Zerg had on both sides. But he came in from every angle. And once the sentry were gone, you couldn't really shield your army anymore. Yeah. So he somehow saves those 2 Immortals the entire time. The Mothership core gets sniped. But at the same time, Sleep looks at it and is like, well, I have a massive amount of roaches right now. You don't have any units. He moves in, but those 2 Immortals, you just go to town, and like clockwork, they snipe one roach after another, and then suddenly Sleep realizes, you know what? I'm actually losing my army here.
Yeah.
And then he runs out of lava. He has to commit with the drones, doesn't have the income anymore. Crazy.
It was really crazy. this is a position he had, and then once he started to hit those units that were coming out, if you're outside of the hatchery, even if you're not killing the hatchery, and you're killing every unit that pops out there, it's like those units shouldn't have even been built. They're larvae that are not useful. You're spending money that units pop out and die, then you're stuck in the main base because there's force fields on the ramp. If you camp the larva, I mean, what's the point of making units there? They're just going to die instantly before they can even get a shot off.
Even without the force fields, when units trickle in from the left, from the right, and from the front, like one at a time, you don't have a problem taking them down. The Zerg player has to get them together to have this army and then go for the composition, go for a good angle, spread his forces. But if just a couple of units trickle in every now and then, that's not an issue that is unsolvable. So well done here by Dia. Really impressive.
Sleep looks in physical pain, and Symbol is coming out. I had a feeling. It seems to be a great choice here. We're going to have the same matchup yet again. And Symbol's track record here is pretty good, but he's out of the individual league, and so the GSTL is obviously very important for him as a redeeming factor.
Yeah, I personally think that Symbol must be the guy who they said, okay, if we go up against Dia, we will at some point. We need someone to take him down. Who's it going to be? And Symbol just said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Completely agree. His map choice is going to be what's interesting to me. It's going to tell us a lot about what type of style he wants to play. And I'm feeling like we could even see Fruitland here. Not because of the lemons, but just because of the way the map feels and then flows. Symbol's a player who really likes to control the map as a Zerg, and I think that's one of those maps that's open enough, it's hard enough for Frost to take a third. He can just kind of control the mid-game, maybe do some Mutalist play, you know, switching techs, things like that. That's what I would expect to see against Deer. Not exactly straight-up play, but we won't know, of course, until the game starts. I don't know what the map is. That's what I'm most interested in right now.
I have to say, though, that the game that Sleep played there was actually pretty impressive. Given that he is struggling in this matchup a little bit, that was very well executed. He never overcommitted to his economy. He had a 3-base economy and was saying, oh, you know what, I'm okay with 50 harvesters here. I know what you're doing. He had very good strategic grasp of the map as well. Took down the rocks, made sure that he controlled the Zanaga Watchtower. He had Lings active, saw the pylons, took them down, delayed his opponent. He made all the right moves, and I think just at the end he made a slight mistake. So you could see that Dia, even though he's a strong Protoss player also in this matchup, has weaknesses and is vulnerable at certain points. It was also his map choice that gave him a bit of an edge.
I mean, it's incredible, though, that on not his map choice, that Sleep can still pick out these little things, hold the Watchtower, put those rocks down. It's like he was expecting to play against a Protoss player on that map if he won the first game. And that was really, really well played. Like you said, searching the pylons. Gotta be so frustrating for him to lose like that. But Deer is a killer. He will find a way. He's so good at looking at the biggest possible outcome for victory, even in the face of defeat, and finding a way to just squeeze through and get that win. And the map is just still a mystery. It's one of our biggest map downtimes we've ever had, and I guess just kind of stay a secret.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it looks like it. For Symbol, there's a lot of pride on the line right now. It's not only about getting his team once again ahead and eliminating one of the best players that Seoul has in their roster, but at the same time, it's also for him just a chance to prove himself after he was just eliminated in the Challenger League. So there's a lot of pride on the line as well. And the map, as you can see, is Haeundae.
Yeah, Haeundae is a map that is in a lot of ways structurally similar to Fruitland, but I would say it's a little bit less open. It's a little bit smaller, and the attack path is a little bit more straightforward. But it's a 2-player map, and this means that Symbol is going to have to play a little bit cautiously against early play. But this is going to make for an exciting game. I mean, these are two of the best players in the world, and we're only in our 3rd set here.
If Dia takes it here, that would be a great win already for his team. Then they wouldn't only be ahead, but they would have eliminated Symbol, who was always part of the backbone of the opposing team. The 2 players that we saw most of the time coming out for AZUBU when things got really dire was always Supernova and Symbol. They showed in the game in the match against Epic Open, they can also rely on players like Senna to get the wins out there. But usually they rely on Symbol and Supernova, and this is something that they would halfway already eliminate if Dia is now successful once again. So that would be a pretty decent start, even after Huangqin lost the opening match here. Yeah. But we're not there just yet.
Definitely true. But eliminating Symbol, like you said, is kind of like removing one of the foundations of the team. So this would be a great victory for Seoul, who so far has not been able to take a single win this season. And if Deer actually just gets this good momentum and not only gets the win but takes, you know, 3 or 4 kills, then that's great for their indicator as well. So right now, Deer's just got to keep his wits about him, and I'm sure the STX, or not STX, but the Seoul coach is sitting there saying to himself, I think we can do this, and Deer is on a roll. If he can keep this momentum, this is exactly what we need.
Yeah, this is the one point in the game where you're actually just looking at it and you have to think about, okay, what's going to be the next step if he actually loses? Because who do you send out? Like, that's a pretty big question. You saw Deer going to town against Protoss in the individual league. So a Protoss player in a PvP against Deer, you're probably not too confident in that. He took already out, if he beats Symbol, 2 Zerg players, so that's probably not going to be the case. If you send out Supernova and takes him out as well, then suddenly you're running out of players. So this is the one game where you want to just go and trade player for player. So if you can get Symbol into the booth, he gets 1 win and then gets defeated by the next one, you're still in a good spot. But if Symbol loses right now, then the air is going to get pretty thin for AZUBU.
Yeah, very, very well said. And actually, I feel in some ways this is almost true for Seoul, just simply because they're such in a dire strait right now in the team league, that if AZUBU takes this win, if Symbol takes out Deer, that makes them in a very uncomfortable position too, because they've got 2 players left that are probably already been predicted by AZUBU, and they will have to either put ZVZ out with Haiba early, which they probably won't want to do, or send another Protoss out against Symbol, who's already prepared clearly for a Protoss here.
Yep. And I actually think that this situation that we just explained is one of the main reasons why we for once don't see the AZUBU coach smiling here. He knows very well that a lot hinges on this particular match right now. 2 of the best players that we definitely have. Symbol uncharacteristically dropping down into a Code B and not even part of the Challenger League anymore, but this guy has been around in the Premier League for an eternity, so he definitely is to be counted among the best. We have Deer now like on the top of the world, not just yet, but he's on the way there. He just advanced in the WCS Premier League, and now he's going up against the Zerg player. So can he show it again? Against Sleep, he already showed a very intense unit control that we had there. That kind of won him the game, because from a strategic point, Sleep was actually the better player. But his unit control was amazing. Can he show it again? Symbol is getting ready here. The GSTL game number 3 between AZUBU and Seoul. How long?